Richard Baxter, 1615 to 1691. God's Pen. Snow fell on Richard Baxter's shoulders and muffled his horse's hoofbeats. Bridle rings jingled, and the horse's breath blew misty puffs in the icy air. Baxter reflected aloud about the court life he'd left behind, a stage play instead of a sermon on the Lord's Day, and what little preaching I heard was all against the Puritans. The horse, his only audience, responded by shaking snowflakes from its mane. Baxter patted the animal's neck. "My mother's illness grieves me, but I confess it is a great relief to leave London in order to go to her." Creaking noises reached Baxter's ears, and huge shapes loomed ahead of him in the falling snow. A team of strong horses strained against the harness as they pulled a load closer every second. The rumbling wagon took up the entire road, blocking Baxter's way. He glanced at the hills rising on both sides. One looked less steep. He quickly kicked his heels against the horse and urged it up the bank. The girth, binding the saddle around the horse's belly, broke. The saddle suddenly slid down the horse's side, throwing Baxter through the air. He plummeted onto the frozen snow directly in front of the wagon's crunching wheel. He closed his eyes. Everything became quiet, and Baxter opened his eyes. The motionless wheel stood nearly touching his body. There had been no time for the wagon driver to pull the reins or shout commands, but the horses had stopped. Baxter whispered, "I thank thee, Lord God, for preserving my life." His writing. After the saddle was repaired, Baxter was able to ride on through the storm to his home. The groans of his ill mother greeted him at the door. He had always been sickly himself, but he spent many hours caring for her. From December until April, snow continued to fall. The long winter gave him plenty of time to think about how God had spared his life. He decided to use his talents to serve others and the Lord. The best gift God had given him was the ability to write. Baxter had received a rather poor education, but he now began teaching himself and engaged in writing. After his mother's death, he focused even more on his studies. When he was 23, a bishop ordained him to become a schoolmaster. He often preached to local people and soon became an assistant minister.